Hello there from the Polo Vivo GT. My name is Jacob Moshokoa, and I'm here to tell you a little more about the Vivo GT. Of course, there's no GTI out there, so the best of the Vivos is this, the GT.
Dream, search, drive. Cars.co.za.
So what's new about the Vivo GT? The side mirrors are silver, it's got new stickers on the side doors, it has 17-inch alloys, and of course new stitching on the interior. But that's about it. That makes it a new Vivo GT. Now we should get into the more important things. It comes with a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine. The nice part is that it is turboed, which allows for a bit of a kick or a bit of a punch as soon as you hit 2,500 revs. Now, apart from that, I don't find a lot more things that I can like about the car. And I'll tell you why. The previous generation Vivo GT had things like a sunroof, and it just looked cooler. In fact, I knew of one with leather seats, tan leather seats to be exact. Here, I've got cloth seats, and it's likely that if I wanted leather seats, I'd have to pay more. Now, talking about extras, here's one thing you gotta notice. This armrest that's here is an extra 2,500 Rand. The problem is the armrest seems a little too much. I mean, I can barely reach over to pull the handbrake sometimes without having to move the armrest back. Then you look at the LED headlights. Those cost up to 11,000 Rand. That's all extra. And the last extra that's fitted to this car is the park distance control and of course reverse camera. That's an extra 6,500 Rand. Now you look at all of that and you see where the pricing point is of this car, which is around 360,000 Rand as you see it. And then you realize that Vivo's no longer Vivo. Vivo is no longer that replacement for City Golf. In fact, there are better cars to look at, like this one. So at that pricing point, you consider the likes of the Mazda 2, the Peugeot 208, the Renault Clio, and maybe even a Hyundai i20. I know those are all a segment up. In fact, they're a Polo segment. But the kind of money we're talking about allows us to start looking at those cars instead of looking at a Vivo GT. So there are a lot of features on the Mazda 2 that make the Polo Vivo GT seem like it's very poorly spec'd. In fact, things like the electric mirrors, electric windows for the rear passengers, an automatic gearbox, and a slightly better fit and finish, which you would expect from a segment above. So let's look at why the Polo Vivo GT is so expensive. Where other Vivos use naturally aspirated engines, this Vivo GT is turbo powered, making it more expensive than the rest. So you can of course get yourself behind the wheel of an entry-level Polo Vivo at around 250,000 Rand. But then you look at how much you have to spec or add extras to be able to get the car to your satisfaction, you're going to be spending a pretty penny. This gets me thinking. A Suzuki Swift, which is highly spec'd, costs around 250,000 Rand. So would you rather be in an entry-level Vivo with nothing or a highly spec'd Suzuki Swift automatic at a similar price? That's where the questions begin. And my question is pure and simple. Has a Vivo lost the essence of a Vivo? It feels as though it doesn't have a place anymore. It's no longer the entry-level car. The car with, 10, 12 years of heritage? The one that replaced the City Golf? It's gone now. It puts the Vivo in a totally different category. And I must tell you, that category is not very affordable. Let's talk about what it feels like when you're driving in the car. I have to be honest, The car's very comfortable to drive, considering that it's a 6-speed manual. When you are on the 6th gear and you're driving smoothly on the highway, it becomes such a dream to drive. In fact, the average fuel consumption has been at around 6.8 liters per 100 Ks while driving in the city. It is very comfortable even on the long road. For a person my height, I think the seating is actually perfect. And I guess you got to give the credit where it's due, right? You look at the engine and you can understand why this car actually feels so comfortable when you're driving. The engine is definitely the star of the show. I mean, 81 kilowatts, 205 Newton meters of torque. It's got 17-inch wheels, which makes it a nice and firm drive. The beauty about the turbo as well means with just a bit of acceleration, you get the speed you need to do that quick overtake. And like I said before, when you're on 2,000 or 3,000 revs, the turbo is actually working and it's making you feel as though everything else is done for you. It makes the work so easy. So this engine definitely makes this car worthy of a GT badge. Not GTI, just GT. So I gotta give it the thumbs up there. So in terms of ride quality, it is a decent car all round. I mean, considering that the shape is 10 years or so in terms of age, it's still a solid car and it holds its own quite well. So although we've criticized a few things that are lacking in the Vivo GT, there are some other things that are definitely worth mentioning. It's got a soft touch dashboard, it's got Android Auto, it's got Apple CarPlay, it's got a cruise control, and you know what? The overall offering on the interior of the car is perfect, especially for a Vivo GT. So while it may be lacking one or two other features, overall, you won't be disappointed with what the Vivo GT has to offer. In terms of backup, this car does not come with a service plan, and as you might know, there are other manufacturers who have also chosen to unbundle the service plan when it comes to the offering of their car. So it's not really a bad thing, but for anyone who's looking at a budget buy, you want those type of things included in a car. In terms of a warranty, this car does come with a 3-year, 120,000 kilometer warranty. So that does give you a bit of peace of mind in case you're wondering. But in my opinion, I think VW should have just thrown in that service plan, just for additional peace of mind for anyone trying to get into a car like this. So let's talk a bit about the safety aspect of the car. The cars that we mentioned earlier included the Mazda 2. The Mazda 2 comes with 6 airbags. This comes with only 2 airbags, one for the driver and one for the passenger. It comes with other safety aspects like ABS, EBD, and electronic stability control. And that's available in all the other cars as well. So, in conclusion, what are my thoughts on the Vivo GT? I think it is heavily priced, and if I could make a suggestion, don't get the Vivo GT, rather get a normal Vivo. Although it won't have the turbo engine, I think the naturally aspirated engine is more than enough in a car that's still looked at as the budget buy. With the amount of Polo Vivos VW sells monthly, the decision purely lies with you as the consumer. So whatever you decide, I can just tell you that you can't go wrong with a Vivo.
Cars.co.za. Are you busy trying to decide between 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars? We have an excellent compare tool on our site which will help you make sense of all the different pricing and all the different specs. You'll find it on our main site as well as in our app. It's super slick, it's easy to use, it's highly detailed, it's constantly updated with the latest information and pricing, and I can guarantee you it'll make your life a ton easier. Check it out on our website, link in the description below.
No matter how big or small your car is, you can still save $420 per month. Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans.